little bit earlier this morning about, say the Brazilian scene. What do you make of Leomane as a player? Because he might not be up there with the most well-known, but he's definitely been knocking around.
Yeah, he really had, he put a lot more effort into Hearthstone a little while ago, like towards the start, actually 2014-15 is where he was putting in most of his time. But out of him and his teammates on Team Red Canids, out of Race Perna and Leomane, obviously, he's the least well-known, I would say. Race and Perna have had a little bit more success on the HCT circuit with tour stops as well this year, whereas Leomane has taken a little bit of a back step. But as with so many strong Hearthstone players, he has been a key practice member for both of those Brazilian players. It's a very tight-knit community down in Brazil, and I think he will have been lending his expertise consistently for them trying to take their victories.
Right, and then we have Tare, the player who just keeps coming back, and shock horror, Derek. He's still bringing Questro. That is in his lineup. I'm not 100% sure on what the wins were earlier on. We'll find out for you in a little bit. But for now, it's going to be the Holy Wrath Paladin versus the Hunter. And, we've both been playing this deck, and I actually think that the Holy Wrath Paladin maybe doesn't get enough credit for being sort of not an anti-aggro deck, but having game versus aggro, because it only takes a timeout, and then the second you can drop a Shivala with a bounce or a copy or whatever, you just win, because there's no deck in the game right now that can realistically beat multiple Shivalas.
The OTK kind of just shifts away, because you're obviously not going for most of the time against aggro, Holy Wrath on Shivala with the Baleful Banker. The OTK, or the combo that you're doing, I suppose I should say, at the end, is just bouncing Shivala. That just wins you the game against pretty much every aggro deck. But getting to that point is the difficult part, because your removal as the OTK Paladin is incredibly strong at dealing with wide boards. If they put all their eggs in one basket and overcommit onto the board, you can destroy it very easily with Equality and Shrink Ray. But it's single target removal that I think is the real Achilles heel of this OTK Paladin. And so if Tare is able to stick something like a adapted Misha here, or maybe a big Scavenging Hyena, maybe even just the Tundra Rhino, these are a lot of must-remove targets that Leomane could struggle to get rid of.
Interesting list as well from Leomane. We can see he's running the one True Silver, the one Shrink Ray, but only one Holy Wrath. And personally, I feel like that makes the deck a little bit riskier than it needs to be, because we heard from the guys, sometimes you just Holy Wrath them on turn 5 and kill them. But also, Holy Wrath's just a fine card draw tool, if you have two. I mean, so you can play one to just keep cycling, and still know you've got the second one in the bank.
I'm actually personally of the other school of thought. I quite like the one Holy Wrath build, but I still use it very liberally. I think a lot more often than would initially meet the eye, you go for the Horseman OTK. I think that's just often the more reliable way to do it.
Interesting.
Because you don't have to draw through your whole deck for that. You just need Uther on 9, and then you can go for it with the Pandas and the Zolas. Obviously, you need to have built your deck in that way, whereas Leomane only has one Youthful Brewmaster, whereas I run 2, so it obviously gets a little bit more tricky. I don't think I actually love this list from Leomane. I think I personally prefer 2 Brewmasters as opposed to just 1, but it's very interesting, like we were saying in the pre-show, just how unrefined this deck is. There's so much room for creativity and personal playstyles thrown in there.
Yeah, we see Snipe's going to go off onto a Novice Engineer, probably the best target in the world for that. I will say as well that already, with this Hybrid Hunter that Leomane's against, he isn't doing too bad in terms of a life total. The Snake Trap's a little bit frustrating, and with no coin for Consecrate, that's a little bit tough to deal with just because there's multiple minions on board. We can see Hyena, of course. But, it only requires a turn or so to reach a little bit with timeout, get one board clear, then Hunter can run out of cards. Not as common now, because of Master's Call is probably the most powerful tool Hunter's had in a long time. But it is doable to just survive there, because now look, there's Pyro, Hammer of Wrath, Consecrate, Equality, Shrink Ray. There's so many tools that are just like, no, I'll buy one more turn. Oh, I'll buy one more turn. And then suddenly it's the end of the game.
And now for Tare, he has free reign to develop onto this board here. And I have to be honest, I am kind of surprised to see the Scavenging Hyena come down. On that turn, I quite like the Tundra Rhino. If I'm honest, just you're on turn 5, you throw that down. How do they remove the Rhino without using an Equality or a Shrink Ray? They have to go for some kind of a complete board sweep to get rid of it. And if they do kill it off, go for Spellstone, you have a huge refill. If they don't kill it off though, you have a charging Spellstone, you just hit them for 12.
I think that's why I'm the other way. We just never agreed, Darren. Because I think as you are edging the game over to turn 10, depending on what you draw and stuff, there is a chance that you can actually just kill the Paladin with 10 mana.
Oh, what, you want to go for the Rhino Spellstone combo?
Yeah, depending on what you draw and how the game plays out and if things are cleared. But what that says to Leomane is you have to kill this hyena. If you don't, you may just die. And that's just the way it is.
That's fair.
Because the one problem you've got is when it's obvious when you're setting up lethal and then they time out, it's literally just gain a turn. You draw one card, but they gain a turn, so it's kind of difficult to deal with.
That's fair. And this has worked out. Yeah, this has worked out well for Tara. He still gets the benefit I was talking about of demanding an answer with this Rhino, and still setting up for a powerful Spellstone. So it's worked out well in both aspects.
And there's Master's Call. That was key.
Yep.
And look, imagine that timeout wasn't played. There could have been some heavy damage done again this turn. And the problem Leomane has, it's one of the odd spots in the deck where you don't have card draw. And you need to cycle, because the way you survive is because you draw every card in your deck, and the amount of survival tools in your deck in total are enough. But you need to get there.
It's pretty crazy that he's run out of card draw, considering he had a double Christology opening, I think. Like, that just always hyper cycles through your whole deck.
Yeah, no Prismatic Lens is a little bit annoying. The 4-mana draw 2 is actually quite powerful. But now, like, it has to be another clear. Uther locked and loaded for next turn. And this is the scary part now for Tare. Like, we can see Uther. He can't, obviously. But now it's like, right, he's just cleared this. I've got nothing on board. My hand doesn't do much apart from, yes, you can make the 3/3s, but what if they're either cleared or another timeout or whatever? And Uther almost heals for 10.
Pretty much,
depending on trades, obviously.
When you play it straight away. It will be a little bit difficult for Leomane as to whether or not he goes for the equality clear or the Uther. The main reason I'm saying that is because while it is a pretty good equality consecration board clear, now it's unlikely that you'll face anything scarier immediately. Zul'jin is what I'm afraid of. That is what I lose to a staggering amount of time in this matchup. It's just the refill that Zul'jin affords. You need an answer to that, or you're just going to lose, which is why I think I like from Leomane realizing this is scary, but it's not gaming. You can afford to take this damage and then heal up after.
I like this because when you tick off Rhino and 2 Hyenas, it's unlikely, extremely unlikely you were dead this turn.
That's true,
And then if you're not dead, you just heal, and then you're still not dead, and then you're still not dead. Because there's now Flash of Light, Quality Consecrate, the Shrink Ray, the Steven Righteous Protector, which is a little bit annoying sometimes. So down to 13, but this board's getting wiped. And there's going to be, what, potentially 9 heal coming out and card draw next turn?
It's not perfect with the way it's worked out for Leomane, though, because he's clearing a board of a similar size to last turn anyway. He's baited out a couple of extra resources by holding on with the equality consecration board clear.
I guess.
But maybe if he'd done it last turn, he could have held off a little bit more effectively. But either way, he's in a pretty good spot now.
The scary part is, whenever you don't play Uther safely, you might die. And like, if you want to play Uther this turn after the refill where you're dead, it's too much damage. And bear in mind, if Zul'jin comes down, he can just Shrink Ray it. It's like, oh, 7/1/1s max. Nice one. Suddenly you start to see the stabilization that this Paladin deck can do.
How do you feel about that attack with the weapon? He was at 13 health. He doesn't need to be afraid of refill from his opponent. Should he be swinging there or save it for removal?
I think that...
It's close, isn't it?
It is close, because also the more damage you do, the more chance you're going to totally wrath someone to death.
That's true.
And you beat Rexar turns, which then buy them another turn and another, you know, it gets a little bit weird, but I think I like it overall because you've still got another swing. And also there might be some world in which then awkward target is made and you don't want to swing into it.
The freezing trap there for Leomane is kind of nice as it just bounces back a horseman to his hand for him. It's what the deck is designed to do.
And this is just problematic now without a Death Knight here. Oh, double Prismatic Lens, that's not a bad one. But without the Death Knight from Tare, or Zul'jin, the hero card, one card a turn's not going to cut it. And now, look, Leomane, this is the level of card draw we're used to. And it was bound to happen because we did say, you know, Leomane had like no card draw earlier. Like 70% of the deck is card draw, so yes, you will draw into it.
And Leomane here can just slowly move towards the Shavala event, sorry, the Shavala Holy Wrath OTK if he wants to. Or to be honest, what I was looking at instead was just bouncing cards back with the Brewmaster there. Just go hero power and bounce it back. He can get the Horseman OTK pretty easily.
I don't even know if he needs to. I think you can just play this out and you just take whatever you win with.
I just think he's more likely to lose if... Oh, he's a one.
No, I was going to say, his deck looks pretty swell to me. Boom!
There we go.
There's the 25 damage, and Leomane goes